We do want to bring in our guest, Matthew Catavolo, before I bring him on screen here. Just by way of introduction, this young man has been with CF Montreal Academy. Their U23 teams. He's played for Valor FC in the Canadian Premier League. He's had an incredible career so far. We're lucky to have him in Fort Wayne. He's spent some time with Toronto FC 2 in the Major League Soccer, MLS Next Pro. Played with Canada's U17s and Canada's U20 national teams. And he's now hanging out with us in Fort Wayne for the 2025 season for Fort Wayne FC. Matthew Catavolo, welcome to Fort Wayne Footy.
Hey guys, thank you for having me on the podcast. It's always a pleasure to talk soccer with new people and soccer fans of the club. So thank you guys for having me again.
Yeah, man. Thank you for joining us. We joked a little bit. We talked before we went live, right? We're fans sitting up in the stands thinking we know what we're talking about. Some of us have been coaches, never played at the level that you have. So it's always fun to get perspective from people that are on the field and can tell us if we're crazy or not, right? Look forward to some of that conversation tonight with you, Matthew. I'm curious, I want to go back a little bit before we start talking about this season with Fort Wayne FC. I want to go back a little bit. If I understand correctly, you were 13 years old, started playing with CF Montreal, or you're a teenager at some level playing with CF Montreal. You've had definitely a different childhood and teenage years than any of us did, playing at the level that you were playing at. You brought on to the U17 national teams and U20 national teams. Tell us a little bit about your movement from the academy teams you played for to the Canadian Premier League to the national teams that you've played on. What has that been like at each level of play and for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, it all started, obviously, I started with my local club, and then around 13 years old. I was doing pretty well with my club, my local team back in Montreal. It was called Les Étoiles de l'Est, so it's in French. Basically, the Stars of Laval, if we want to put it in for English people.
Okay.
I was doing pretty well there. Top scorer of my team in the regional side. So Montreal's academy, some recruiters at the game looking at me, watching a couple of games of mine, and it was convincing. So I joined the academy in August. Had to change school to do half day school, half day soccer. That's how the program works. So was going from 3-4 times a week playing to now 5-6, with games. Surrounding myself with coaches with another level of experience, who've played the game in those academies, and a lot more resources, a lot better friendly games, a lot better league games. Now you're competing with, U13, U14 MLS academies, so you're starting to get a bit more, understand the game a bit more, and play better players and compete with them. So again, it took, there was that little adaptation because you are playing for fun, but you understand a bit that you're in the top of the province. So there's guys that are like fighting for your spot, like you're trying to take somebody's spot. So you're just understanding those new perspectives as a kid. um Honestly, I was just playing for the love of the game. It's just these little things that you catch year by year. And I started playing overage as well at that age. So with the U14s, I was 13. I was doing well and just did my ranks at the academy, um, all the way to uh, so U17, U19, and then COVID hit. There was a little restructure, so they took out that U19 team and added the U23 team. Uh, and I was at the end. I was pretty much with the first team. I think for like 4 or 5 months. The head coach was Wilfred Nancy, who gave me the opportunity to go to a preseason camp with CF Montreal. Learned a lot with players like Victor Wanyama, Georgi Mihailovic. Uh,
Yeah.
just to name you a few guys that were there. Yeah, just being in trainings with them on the daily was huge, and obviously I was playing minutes with the second team. There was no championship because it was during COVID, so they were friendly games. But I did really well with the second team, and unfortunately, for financial reasons, I don't think I ended up getting the deal. But what an experience it was being in Montreal, my childhood club. It was just amazing. Um, it also allowed me at the U17 age to get into the U17 national team as an underage. Something that I really did not expect. I knew I had some good qualities, but it just started by let me get into the camp with the 2002 age group because I'm a 2003. Let me just get into the camp, which I did, and then just to be a part of that camp was huge. And you slowly start. You play a friendly, all of a sudden you score, and now you're like, whoa, like I think I have more than just the more quality than just to be like the 23rd man or the 20th man, and then I ended up doing well, getting called to the CONCACAF U17 World Cup qualifiers. Um, again, like just this is like a little story I could tell you. First game of the tournament, we were playing the U.S. Joe Reyna, uh, Gianluca
Yeah.
Buzio, just to name you a few,
Yeah.
Ricardo Pepi. I wasn't supposed to start that game because we had a strategy which was to win the other two games. We knew they had a tough team, and yeah, just I ended up getting the start. Somebody called in sick like right before the game, and first half Canada's up 2-0 against the US. I got two assists that game. Like it's a game that changes your whole like perspective of like just you're playing against huge players,
Yeah.
guys that are already in MLS first teams. You're
Well,
younger than them, and like moments there that really like, wow, like they really stick with me still to this
let
day.
me let me go back for a second, not
Yeah,
to cut off your story, but I'm curious as you are a young player playing on, you come up to the national team here and last minute you get your first start. What mentally was going on in your brain to go? Like, were you prepared to go? Was there a lot
yeah.
of anxiety? Like, how do I wasn't ready for this.
Honestly, I was doing very well with the U17 Montreal team that year. So I was like fully fit. I was confident, not scared because I like the challenge. And the coach told me, like, Matthew, you ready to go? I said, yeah, I'm ready. And yeah, like I knew the game was going to be hard. We were the underdogs going in the game. So it kind of takes off a bit of pressure naturally.
Yeah.
And then I just feel like yeah, we didn't have much possession that game. We were pretty much playing the counter, and we just again playing with great players on my team. Jason Russell Rowe, Jaden Nelson. Like our
Man.
team was stacked as well, and yeah, the game that was like a crazy changing
How
moment. And then we went on to qualify for the World Cup U17 in that same tournament, which brought us to the World Cup in Brazil. I got the chance to go
that's
to
wild.
the U17 World Cup as an underage, and my idols were all number 10s. I got the chance to wear the number 10 as well at a World Cup.
Jeez.
I'm grateful for that. I'll always be. It was an amazing, unique experience, and
So
yeah,
for anybody listening right now, watching live or listening later this week, like Fort Wayne is not playing around with the quality
Mm-mm.
of players that have come in here. We've got Matthew Catavolo, and there's more to his story. I'm not trying to cut him off. We've got Briscoe, who's played with his national team. Like Fort Wayne is serious about soccer right now and bringing quality players to this town, which is why I love what we get to do here on this show. Matthew, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Your story is fascinating to
Yeah.
me, and I'm sure there's so much more you can tell about your time with Canadian national team, with Toronto FC Academy. I think you had a stint there as well. So I just want to give you an opportunity if there's if you wanted to continue that. We've got some other questions, but I'm just fascinated by your
Yeah.
journey
Seriously.
already.
yeah. No, I just add like a little thing, and then it brought me to obviously COVID. finished there. Had another year at the Montreal's academy, and then got needed playing time. I knew the MLS was going to be very tough to get minutes, so I decided to go to the Premier League, Canadian Premier League, and then I got a transfer to TFC2, which was
Mhm.
another key part to my development. Got to
Mhm.
play in another MLS academy and a new league. Trained with guys like Insigne, Bernardeschi. Again, I can tell you so many stories about them, but
Wow.
top players that I was able to train with, watch, learn from, and yeah, it's just fascinating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
crazy.
I gotta imagine there's a lot you can learn just by watching players on the field, right? Like that's what I encourage my son to do is just
Mm,
watch some of the pros, see what they do, how creative they are with the ball, where their eyes go when they have it. But to actually be on the pitch with those same guys is probably a totally different story. Is
mhm.
there is there anything you can share? Just any stories that you have being on the field with guys like Bernadeschi and Insigne that I don't know how much you trained with them or not, or saw the pitch
Yeah.
with them, but um, just things you learned from them, things maybe you made a dumb play and they got on your case about it. Like, is there anything you can share personally about those kind of experiences?
Yeah, like well, just to start off, watching them, you see the every little detail they that they bring. Things like just from Insigne that I can remember. In trainings, he's trying to score. Like he sees the goalie. If you're doing, for example, an 8v8, he sees the goalie that's out of his net. He's already trying to shoot from like from far. Like we're doing a big space game, and he's trying to, like 50 yards out, trying to lob it over the goalie. Like these are little things that these players have. His crosses are always on they're played to perfection, on the striker's head, on his in his run, they never make silly mistakes. They do sometimes, but it's very minimal. And something else I realized that they bring is just they're able to control the tempo of the game. They can come make
Mm,
the game easier for their whole team.
Mm,
Those were and their quality is another level, obviously, but just that their calmness on the ball, their composure, they play with like as if they're playing with buddies, with friends, just it's inspiring. And a little funny story that I can give was doing some finishing and with the Italians, and I scored a nice shot. We're just practicing our shooting. I scored a nice shot, and there's like a celebration where a player kneels and you put your foot on top of them, and they like clean your shoe. So I did that with Insigne. Like we had a little cool relationship. We both speak Italian. Obviously, he's from
mm.
Italy, but speak Italian too from my grandparents teaching me as a kid and my family. So cool moments like that where you remember those forever.
yeah. Um, so I want to go back to Wilfred Nancy, right? I'm an FC Cincinnati fan myself. That's where I grew up, and so I watched them. And our arch nemesis is the Columbus Crew, where Wilfred Nancy is now.
Yeah.
He seems like an incredible coach. And you spent a little bit of time with him, it sounds like. What can you tell us about Wilfred Nancy as a coach and as an individual?
Yeah. So first of all, he's very, treats everybody equally. He really emphasizes respect, the important core values of anywhere, right, and of life in general. So I think that's very important. Nobody's above the team. Those were, those were
Mm,
important things that he always mentioned. And on the football side, he was an incredible tactician. Loved to control the game with the ball.
Mm.
It was the first time when I was training with him, I would see uh, goalies and defenders being side by side on the goal kick, and where he would try to like win, he would try to like find ways to beat the press. That was the first time I actually started seeing that. Like it was incredible how he would use his goalie with his
Mm,
defender, similar to Guardiola did back in a few years ago. So that
hmm.
was super interesting to see.
Mm.
And then just how he's able to get his message to his players and really emphasize the ball. You know how to treat the ball properly and keep it, and then he gives also that freedom in the offensive zone to really express yourself. So yeah, he's a top coach. If I had to say, it was amazing to work with him, and even if it was just for a few months, it was plenty to learn from.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, so I love, like, literally, I think we could all sit here for the entire time and just listen to you tell us stories. But I'm laughing because my 8-year-old was there last night and got your autograph on the poster, and he's walking around in front of me, like holding it up like this right now. Like, he's so excited. But so my question is, and because my older son also wanted to know, what advice do you give for young players that are trying? Sorry, yeah, there he jumped on there for young players that are trying to do well, to that they want to prove themselves. What kind of advice would you give to them?
Yeah, so for me, I would say, like, as a kid, just obviously having fun is very, very important. But it's for me, it would be just being on the ball, close to the ball as a kid, like always, playing with your friends, with your local team, uh, futsal, like a gym soccer, different types of soccer games, whether it's small space, big space, like all these little, you learn from every team that you're on. And just, I feel like when you're young, getting those fundamentals, like first touch, weak foot, something that was really, my dad would
Mm.
really stress as a kid. Work on your weak foot, getting the connection with the ball. That's where you start to develop your skills, your IQ for the game. Um, yeah, that's honestly, and then the discipline will come obviously later as well. But yeah, for me, it's getting your connection with the ball. I think that's gonna help you for the rest of your life.
Mm,
Then obviously we know there's other factors, physical stuff,
mm,
speed. But I feel like the basics of football, of soccer, are in those younger years is crucial. If I had
mhm,
to really give a piece of advice for kids, like simple things. I grew up like playing a lot in the street,
mm,
like off a wall, just yeah, playing a lot of soccer in
mm.
different zone, on grass, on concrete, on different pitches. So I think that's essentially the advice I can give for
Yeah,
young players.
no, that's great.
Yeah. Mike,
Matthew, I
you were,
have a
yeah.
yeah, I have a question for you, and then I asked Ori this the same question a couple weeks back. But
Yeah.
walk me through the process of you signing with Fort Wayne. Like, what did that was a phone conversation or like what? How did you end up here? Let me ask you that.
Yeah. So yeah, my agent obviously knew the staff here. Mike Avery, Keelan Barker, who's the assistant. So yeah, that's how it all started. For me, last year I came off a difficult year in terms of playing time. Uh, as you know, changes in soccer can be good for players, can be bad. Management changes. So for me in Toronto, my second year was very difficult in terms of getting playing time. Um, Not because I was training bad, not because I was necessarily doing anything bad. Just myself training hard all the time, trying to fight for minutes. But and when you're fighting to get an MLS contract in a reserve team that is professional, there's a lot of constraints coming from above. There's players that with a new management are seen here, and the year before they weren't seen the same. So there's all these things that are part of football out of our control, obviously.
Mhm.
What I controlled is my training, but I didn't get a lot of minutes, so it was harder to get the next step in my career. And obviously, the North American market was done, and had great conversations with Mike, uh, who believed in my abilities along with the staff. And for me, it was really important to get playing time. That's how, you constantly grow as a player. You get your confidence, and the opportunity Fort Wayne has is immense. Them going professional next year. Great sporting director, the Marcus Beasley, also, who brings enormous amount of knowledge and advice for players who can help you grow. So yeah, all these things uh, were a part of the discussion, and for me, it's so important to obviously play, like I mentioned. So that was kind of the discussion, and obviously being here, I just wanted to give my best and keep developing and seeing where it takes me.
What is your ultimate goal as a player? Is it to play at a certain level, a certain club, for the Canadian national team with Jesse Marsh or whoever it is, down the road? Like, ultimate goal, I assume you want to go as far as you can go.
Yeah,
What do you have your eyes set on?
yeah. A realistic dream would be to play for the national team of Canada, the senior team. Uh, Hopefully it's Jesse Marsh. If not, if it's somebody else, whoever it may be, that's my objective. Even to get into a camp, start off with that, and obviously to get into that team is you're competing with players that play in great and proven championships. So I feel like to play in that, to get your opportunity, you need to really be in the highest level possible. So that's my objective, is to be in the best environment for me to get call ups with the national team,
Mm-hmm.
and play at the highest level I can play. That's all I can control and all I can hope for. So
Yeah.
those are my ambitions.
Yeah. You guys have any other questions for Matthew before we get into some game talk here? All right.
No, I think we could just sit and listen to you talk all
Yeah.
day about your experiences.
doubt.
It's pretty awesome. Like knowing those things that we didn't know beforehand. That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
My question, I do have one question before we get into like game stuff, and I think I prepped you a little bit beforehand. Was watching the Canadian national team play, I would imagine you would take great pride in the product that they're putting out on the field.
Yeah.
And we're watching the United States men's team play and not have some of their top players in camp right now, or in the Gold Cup even, is seeing struggles against lower teams and all that. My question is, did the United States make a mistake not hiring Jesse Marsh? Because that's a question that many of us are
Yeah.
asking. Potch is a good coach, but what do you think?
I think if we look at the day the decision was made, I wouldn't see it as a mistake necessarily, because Pochettino is Pochettino. I mean, he's
Yeah.
coached amazing clubs. Maybe now looking back, I mean, honestly, I don't watch the U.S. games, so I don't know the issues or what they're lacking right now. But to say it's a mistake is a tough one for me to say, because you're
Sure.
bringing in a talented coach, so it's
Yeah.
it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this. I don't know that it's a coaching issue
Yeah.
with the United States team. I think there's a lot of other stuff going on too, but certainly Jesse Marsh has proven himself to be a great coach there in Canada. And I kind of love the fact that he's not shy about reminding the United States that you overlooked me. And here we go with Canada, like turning things around. It's been fun to watch the Canadian team just progress and move on. So, Matthew, we do wish you all the best. We're thankful that you joined us. I'm hoping we're going to talk about the Lexington match here. If you don't mind sticking around, we'd love to get your thoughts on
Yeah,
that
no
match
problem.
on Wednesday night. So, yeah. So we get into moving on to the Lexington SC match. Like, this is the other undefeated team. Fort Wayne FC has been stellar all season. And if you went around to the four of us here tonight, Matthew, and give, like, if we went through our preseason predictions, I think all three of them predicted Fort Wayne FC being undefeated. Maybe. I was the only one that maybe had a loss or two in there. But
I had
Lexington.
I had one tie.
You had one tie. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Lexington SC comes in. They're a new team in the league. No one knows much about them. They've got a team in USL Championship. They started the second team this year, and you guys went down there first and drew with them 1-1, I believe. They have gone undefeated since then, come into town on Wednesday night. It's a big game everybody's looking forward to. We get a storm that delays the game, right? Everybody's soaking wet, going back into the locker room. Fans are just hanging out underneath the bleachers. I was there that night with Dustin, and a big game, and you guys performed well in that match. Walk us through kind of pregame stuff, how you adjusted to, hey, we're ready to play, but oh wait, we got to wait another hour or so to come out and continue to be ready for that game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when soccer games are delayed, it's kind of tough because you eat 3-4 hours before the game, so the food, the digestion, the sugar levels, all that stuff gets a bit affected. So you just gotta obviously get some energy as the game, hoping that the game starts at the right time and doesn't get pushed even more. So yeah, we got our warm up done, and then another little storm came and pushed the game another 45 minutes or so. But yeah, it's a mental challenge as well. Frustration. Are we gonna play the game? Is it in an hour, 30 minutes? Is it in 2 hours, 3 hours? So a lot goes on in your mind, and especially when it's like a big game. You prepared all week, well, depending on the schedule, but you prepared a few days in advance for this game. So you're ready. You're really like locked in for the game, and these things can put you off, but it all depends on how you digest it. So I mean, yeah, we ended up playing the game even though the storm affected us. Yeah, we the game, big games always bring something special, that atmosphere where both teams are going at it. And yeah, I mean, sometimes those games, you you don't necessarily get to play the way you want because it's just how the game goes, but I think we did really well in the first half. I feel like we had most of the ball, the control in that first half. Second half, I mean, we're up 1-0. I think, sometimes naturally the game, you start to defend a bit more. You want to protect your lead, and ideally you have the ball, but sometimes it's just the way the game goes. I mean, we could have been a bit more, I would say, sharper in how we, in our counterattacks, in our possession, keeping that composure with the ball. But honestly, we sometimes you just gotta play what the game gives you and do your best. I mean, I feel like we did that, and we got the second goal at the end, close to the end, and yeah, we got the result, and that's ultimately is what you want in big games, is to get the result. If you can do both, play amazing for 90 minutes, that's an ideal world. But yeah, we needed the result, and the whole team worked hard for it. So proud of all of us and the staff as well.
So Dustin and I were there, and we were commenting on just style of play. I think last week we even talked about on the show that it seems like in every aspect of the game, Fort Wayne, your team seems to be the better team in tight spaces, seems to be the better team at counterattack, seems to be the better team defending. One of the things that I noticed is we talked about this is long balls through the middle, like low balls on the ground through the middle seem to be, I see your team doing that more than I've seen anybody else doing it consistently that way, with an attacking mid dropping in or a striker dropping in to get the ball, and suddenly you're downfield, you've got numbers, you're pushing forward. Lexington seemed to cut that off. There wasn't a whole lot of that. They seemed to play tight in the middle, allowing the wings maybe to run a little bit more. Was that an adjustment for you guys, or were you prepared for Lexington to shut down the middle that seemed to be your strength all season so far?
Yeah, I mean, every game presents a new challenge at times. Obviously, with footage, teams can adjust, and I feel like, Lexington, we have to respect what they did this year. They came in and they got very positive results, and they have some good players as well. So they were able to read those passes, like you said. So now I feel like we adjusted well. Going more on the wings. The spaces was we recognized that it was more on the wing. So sometimes it's also that recognizing mid game. It's not always easy, but I feel like this year we it's something to be proud of as a team. There was games where we struggled to maybe get a goal or so, and we always found a way to get it done. So that's it's encouraging, and I feel like it's an important quality to have, especially if you want to go far in the playoffs. Like if you're able to find ways to score, to create chances. Sometimes when things are not working out for you for 30 minutes, and towards the end of the game, you pull something out of the hat. Like these are good qualities to have as a group. And then we've been very strong defensively. So to combine both, and obviously we're a very good possession based team as well. So just
Mhm.
all these elements have been good for us this year, and we just gotta keep it up for the last stretch, and then I believe we're gonna make the playoffs. So for those playoffs as well.
100%.
I
100%.
think, and Brian, I think you and I both like the atmosphere. It was, the rain kept some people away, and so I think that the crowds were a little bit less on Wednesday than what they were expecting to have for such a big game. But the atmosphere was nuts. Like I felt like it was
Yeah.
extremely intense and electric. Did you guys feel that on the field? Like beyond just like obviously knowing that this was an intense game, is that something you guys feel when like people like Christina and the Three Rivers Regiment, like they're out there and you feel that? Like, does that kind of push you
Yeah,
on?
like honestly, I felt it since the first friendly that I played here. And I'm gonna keep it honest. Sometimes the crowd this year has been better than in some professional environments.
Mm,
So just to see that was like amazing, and it, the
Mm.
the fans are like a 12th man on the field for me, and I'm sure for many. Like they give you that extra energy in the
mm,
final 10 minutes, from the first minute, and I feel like you guys contributed to the success of this team 100%, because sometimes the game was decided in the last 10 minutes, and where
mm-hmm,
did the energy come from? From us, but I feel like it also came from the fans. So it's every game at home has been amazing, and you guys have been doing an amazing job. So it's honestly, it gives a lot of positive energy for the team, whether we're down a goal, up a goal, or we're tied with the other team. It's amazing energy to have for the home games.
Yeah. Shout out to Shane and Christina with
yeah,
Three Rivers Regiment. Well done for the way you guys build the fan base there. We have one question we want to ask you, and we want to respect your time. Thank you for being on here.
yeah.
I'm going to pass it to Autumn. It's one we got in the chat.
Cool. Speaking of Christina, she wants to know what your game day routine is.
Yeah. So my game day routine, Christina, is yeah. So I eat three meals. If the game's at 7 p.m. like it has been, I eat around 9, 12, and 3 p.m.
Hmm.
Uh, I like to get in some mobility in the morning, some stretching between breakfast and lunch, and then take a nap after lunch, and then just get my muscles going before, in between my pregame meal and the actual start of the game. And yeah, obviously, like I'm always thinking about the game, so it's always like, in the back of my mind all
Mm,
day. Sometimes the days are like you just want to get this game started, and I also like to watch some highlights of some players that I like that play on my position. Just
mm,
to get some creativity or some, something cool that it's like a mind game. You know, you get to see some skills or some goals, and sometimes you're on the field and that same play happens, and it's like in the back of your head. So just some creativity on that end.
That's fun.
Awesome.
Well, Matthew, thanks for joining us tonight. As Dustin said, we could listen to your stories all day, and maybe we'll have you back on another time to tell more. But love what you do on the field. Love what you bring to the team, your leadership, your consistency, your heart, your drive, your play. I don't know if we'll see you in Fort Wayne next year or not, because it sounds like you've got your eyes set on some things, and we'd be sad to not see you here, but we're rooting for you either way, whether you're with us next season or you move on to something bigger and better. We're rooting for you. Appreciate what you've done for Fort Wayne and for Fort Wayne FC. So thanks for joining us tonight as well.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say thank you guys for having me. It's an honor to talk soccer with you guys. And again, thank you guys for everything you do for the community, and you know, at the games as well, cheering us on and whatnot. So appreciate it, and thank you again for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you. Ciao, guys.